This is the Making Noise podcast.
I mean, when I first started doing these projects, I was working nights and really didn't have a social life. I had just moved to Chicago. I didn't know anyone apart from my roommate. So it didn't feel that bad or weird to be stuck in my apartment practicing all day. It kind of just felt like I was actually doing something. Because 365 came out of my like general feeling of not being worth the move. I was living in Chicago. I wasn't playing at all. I wasn't practicing. I didn't have any gigs. And while I knew it was going to be hard moving to a new city and like doing all this stuff, I didn't really realize until then that it was really, really going to be difficult. And so I came up with something that would force me to do something. I didn't really intend it to be what it ended up being, but I just kind of needed to practice. 52 Weeks was kind of a passion project in a way to collaborate with composers in a way that I wasn't feeling like I could, because again, didn't know a ton of people, was in Chicago and trying to build connections, and was at that point. But also, I mean, it takes a long time to find people in a city, especially in a city with so many people and so many composers and so many music students, that this random person who moved from Indiana isn't going to track as much just because they know people who they went to school with. And of course they're going to choose those people over this random person they don't know.
Right.
The more recent projects I have used as a chance to like really work back into my playing. I unfortunately have had a lot of medical issues over the course of 2019, 2020. And so I've had to take a lot of time off, and have used particularly the two 30-day projects, or 31-day as the case may be, projects as a chance to be like, okay, here's a Kickstarter and an easy thing. They were all graphic scores or improvs, so they didn't have as many limitations or like technical facility things that I had to do. And like let's just kick back into playing. And this one is a time suck, and it does take a lot of energy, and it is a lot of planning and timing, because I am working full time. But this one is kind of important just because it really does feel like my actual comeback and not just a placeholder. And I wanted to do something real. I wanted to do something big, and I haven't been able to play like this much new music in a long time. 60 pieces is a lot. And 40 improvs. And this one, I guess kind of do it. It isn't something that I think about until it's after the fact. It's always just been like, okay, this is the time I'm cutting out to practice. This is what I think I can accomplish in this time. Let's find a piece that I think I can accomplish in this time and do it. And if I am really struggling and don't have a lot of time, I have an improv I can do, which is why I included the improvs. It's because those are a lot easier to film, obviously. But it's kind of sheer will, I guess. More than anything, it's just stubbornness and like, no, I'm going to do this thing and it's going to work because that's the only thing that can do.
Robin, I love that. That's one of the hardest things I think for people is when they're out of school and they no longer have someone being like holding them accountable because a grade is involved.
Yeah, exactly. Or a concert that you have to be ready for,
exactly,
or a recital or whatever it is.
Yeah, you're creating these specific like time bound things for yourself, like holding yourself accountable in a way.
Yeah, and I mean like I don't do these projects just for the publicity and just for the like fame or whatever you want to call it. They are developmental for myself. I actually just talked about this at Splice Festival yesterday. I make them so that they push me in some way. Right. Like the improv project was a chance to test myself, because my improv skills were developed in the last couple of years and were something that I was very uncomfortable with. And so from like 2017 to now, I have made myself improvise in public and have been doing more of that. And so the 30 Days of Improv challenge was basically like, hey, let's put this to the test. Can you do this? And are you comfortable putting up things that you don't love? Because that's the thing with improv, is sometimes they don't go the way that you want them to, and
Yeah.
but that's also part of the magic of it. So like that, it was a you have to do this thing. The graphic scores was a mental capacity thing of like, oh well, let's do some interpretation and not just like play other people's music directly from the page, but like really interpret stuff. And this one is a challenge. It's also trying to get my chops back up. I used to be able to sight read almost anything in 3 hours, and that has definitely gone away. So let's try. I'm trying to get some of that skill back, and also just practice for 100 days straight. Because I have my issues with the 100-day practice challenge that kind of floated around Instagram for a long time. But there is something to be said about playing for 100 days straight if it's with a purpose.
Right.
My issue with the challenge is more that people just kind of did it and didn't really think about it. And I think you should think about these challenges before you do them, and do them with intention. But 100 days is a very significant amount of time. And that's a lot of you can produce a lot and you can grow a lot in that time.